Genghis Khan. You know the name, right? He's the guy who literally redrew the map of the world, a name you hear from Asia to Europe. But here's the wild part. 800 years after he lived, we're still fiercely debating a really basic question. Who was he, really? Well, let's get into it and try to unravel this massive historical mystery together. So, what's the deal? Was he Mongol? Is he the founding father of the Kazakh state? Or is the answer something else entirely? To figure this out, we've got to go back in time. We need to try and see the world he came from. And his world? Wow. We are talking about the vast, unforgiving steppe of the 13th century. It was a place where the rules of who you are, your identity, were completely, totally different from how we think today. Okay, so the story starts with a boy named Temujin. The oldest records we have all point to one specific place, near the Onan River in what we now call Eastern Mongolia. And look, this isn't some myth or legend. This is the location that the people writing history back then all agreed on. Now this right here is absolutely crucial to understand. You have to forget everything you know about modern countries and nations. People didn't think of themselves as Mongolian or Kazakh like we do. Your loyalty was to your clan, to your tribe. That was your whole world. And that simple fact changes everything about this story. All right, so to cut through all the modern debates and the noise, we have to go straight to the source. Let's be historical detectives for a minute. What did the people who knew him or lived right after him actually write down? You know, when historians try to answer a question like this, they really lean on three main pillars of proof. First, you've got the chronicles, the history books of the time. Second, you look at the language his family and his clan actually spoke. And third, you check the geography of his life. Put those three things together and a very clear picture starts to emerge. And what's so cool about the evidence is where it comes from. It's not all from one place. We have the secret history of the Mongols. That's the inside story from his own people. Then there are Persian chronicles and Chinese histories. We're talking totally different cultures, different perspectives. And yet, on the question of his origin, they all agree. So what do they all agree on? This. Over and over again, he's called the Great Khan of the Mongol people. There isn't a single source from that entire era that calls him a Turk or any other ethnicity. The historical record is, well, it's unanimous. Crystal clear. He belonged to a specific clan, the Borjigin clan. His ancestry, his language, his cultural traditions, all of it was Mongol. And on the 13th century steppe, this stuff wasn't a small detail. Your lineage was everything. It was your resume, your passport, and your right to rule, all rolled into one. Okay, hold on. If the ethnic evidence is so clear-cut, why is he such a massive, pivotal figure in Kazakh history? This is where the story gets really fascinating, because the Kazakh connection is very, very real, and it is deeply important. It all comes down to lineage, to family. His eldest son, Jochi, was given the lands that make up what is basically modern Kazakhstan. Then, fast forward a couple centuries, and Jochi's direct descendants, Kare and Janibek, are the ones who found the Kazakh Khanate. And get this, for the next 400 years, every single ruler of the Kazakhs was a direct descendant of Genghis Khan. So let's break it down. There are three core reasons for this powerful link. First, the ruling dynasty was his direct bloodline. Second, a lot of the tribes from his original empire, like the Naimans and Kirits, actually became foundational clans of the Kazakh people. And third, there was just this huge cultural and linguistic exchange happening all across his territories. So the crucial point is this: the connection is dynastic and historical. It's not ethnic. To be a legitimate ruler of the Kazakh Khanate, you had to prove you are a Chinggisid, a descendant of Genghis Khan. His bloodline became the ultimate symbol of legitimate power. And all of this just forces us to step back and think about identity in a totally different way. We have to push past the modern ideas of blood and borders that we just kind of take for granted today. Just look at this comparison. Back then, you were your clan. Your main identity was your tribe. And your ultimate allegiance? That was a personal loyalty to your Khan. It's a completely different worldview from our modern ideas of nation states and citizenship. It's like a different planet. And his empire really reflected this. It wasn't a Mongol empire in the way we'd think of a country today. It was this huge, multi-ethnic state that had Mongols, Turks, Persians, Kipchaks, and dozens of other peoples, all united under his single rule. And that was his genius. He didn't just conquer tribes, he completely shattered the old tribal system that had kept the steppe in a state of constant, brutal warfare for centuries. He broke all those pieces apart to build something totally new and way, way bigger, a unified empire. So let's put all these pieces of the puzzle together. Let's try and form a final, complete picture of who this man truly was. So here's how it all comes together. Ethnically, he was a Mongol of the Borjigin clan. Politically, he became the ruler of the entire steppe, uniting all its different peoples. Historically, he's the founder of a world-changing multi-ethnic empire. And culturally, he is the direct ancestor of the dynasty that founded the Kazakh state. He can be all of these things at once. The answer isn't just one thing. So, in the end, the answer is both simple and incredibly complex. His origin is Mongol, but his legacy, that belongs to the world. And it leaves us with one final question to think about. Can any single nation truly claim a figure who so profoundly changed all of us?